welcome to this episode 5 of the 6 Million Mile Show. I'm one of your co-hosts, Crackerbox Jimmy.
And I'm your other host, Trucker Toby. And today we have some very special guests. But before I get to those gentlemen, let me say this. Ladies and gentlemen, if you like the show, if you like what you're hearing, you like what we're doing, do us all a favor. Hit that subscribe button, give us a thumbs up, and click that little notification bell so it dings every time we upload a new show so you guys get notified when we got new content. Today, we have a very special couple gentlemen with us. We have Joey Kent and Greg Martin, the original author of the story behind Dispatch Me Home and the author of the award-winning script for Dispatch Me Home, as well as the executive producers of the project. Gentlemen, welcome to the 6 Million Mile Show.
Just welcome.
Great to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, Kyle.
All right. So I'm going to be leading this interview because Crackerbox Jimmy is shy. So
you're the only person that's ever said that.
I called you ham in the last episode. I'm making up for it. So, all right. So we're going to start off with you, Greg. What was the impetus? What caused you to write the original story behind Dispatch Me Home?
Well, you know, it's a long story, and I'll give you a short answer. It was I was a motor transport officer in the Marine Corps. When I got out, I wanted to stay in that MOS, so to speak, stay in transportation and trucking. And I went up and worked for a roadway trucking up in roadway in Adelanto, Southern California, out in the middle of nowhere. And I just started getting this real vibe about the truckers and the life they had. And I thought back to my summers down in Palm Springs working for Mayflower Movers and just being a swamper every summer. And I just got a real appreciation for them in general. And years later, I thought about, do they get the recognition they need out there? And I said right away, they don't. And I said, I would like to change that because they do deserve a lot more recognition than they get. They get some bad PR. And I wanted to put a positive spotlight on the industry in general. So I started writing one night. I got out of bed about 2 a.m, ran down with my ideas and the concept. And over probably about a 2 or 3 month period, put the story together and went from there.
All right. Now, Greg, how long have we known each other? What, 12, 13 years?
Something like that, yeah.
So how long ago did you write the original story?
Original story was probably written in about 2004.
So about 17 years?
Yeah, then
years,
life got in the way like it does for a lot of people and a lot of things. And just always had it in the back of my mind, and lucky enough to meet a person like Joey that felt the same way I did and got it right away without me even having to go into any deep reason why I had this. He was answering my questions before I was asking them. Felt very comfortable with them. So.
All right, and that actually leads to my next question. All right, how did you and Joey hook up and bring Joey into the fold as far as the other executive producer and the guy who wrote the script? And I've read the script, by the way. It's awesome. And if I recall, Joey, what is it, 22 International Film Awards right now?
I think we're up to 26 now, Toby.
Goodness. Okay.
Yeah, 16 wins from 16 different countries.
Wow.
So how did you come into the picture, Joey, with Greg? I mean, how did you guys meet? How did you hook up?
I started writing screenplays about 2010. I've worked in the movie industry doing set decorations since the 90s, and figured if I was going to establish myself as a writer of books and other things, that I was close at hand to the movie industry. So let me see if I can try my hand at writing scripts. And boy, was that a humbling experience, because you lose a lot of description in screenplays. They go from books are these big feathery things where you're in charge of describing what the reader is envisioning. But in a script, you've got the help of cameramen and music and all kinds of other things to help tell the story. And so you don't need all that description. Anyway, Greg reached out to me right at the beginning. I had done a spec script for a woman in Shreveport, and she somehow knew Greg and patched us together in 2010 or 2011.
Yeah.
So as long as I've been doing this, Greg actually secured his place at the head of the line, and we finally got circled back in the last few years, and really felt like we had to have a script to show people. So I just took Greg's story, which was largely complete, and just fleshed it out a little bit and put it in the proper format for the screen.
Okay, so you've been really a part of this as far as the the reinvention, because about as long as I've known Greg, because I think we met somewhere around in 2010. I was at the height of my popularity in 2007 to 2013, and I met Greg during that time period. So, all right. So you write the story, Greg, this amazing story, and I've read the original. Joey and you hook up, and then Joey says, we got to have a script. And Joey writes a script, which I've read, again, 99 pages. I love the script. I love the story. And then somewhere in between there, Greg decides he's going to bring me into the fold with you gentlemen. He, I guess, consults with you, Joey, and he says, all right, we're going to bring this guy I know into the fold as the industry consultant in AP, and then somehow I get brought in. So what made you decide to bring me in, guys?
Well, you know what, Toby, what I had done is, even though the story was written a long time ago and completed, I stayed in contact with as many trucking blogs, websites, radio shows, TV shows, even trying to stay relevant, I guess is the words. Try to stay relevant. And I want to go back just to one point here too. When I was writing this story, I came across a trucker who had nothing but problems about my story. His name was Bruce Weiser. And Bruce was a big hunk of a man, drove trucks for 40 years, and he became my right-hand pen as I wrote this story. And I would make some comments about the size of tires, the size of chrome pipes, and he corrected me all the time. He said, "No, Greg, that ain't right. That wouldn't work like that." And so he helped me. And I think when people read the story and hopefully see the movie in one form or another in the future, they'll realize that we're trying to stay as true as we can to the industry and what it's all about. So I had that person with me that made me feel comfortable writing the story and putting it out for other people to look at, comment on it. And we lost his call sign was the Bandit. And he said to this day, if he was here with us, I was the original Bandit. And I said, okay, if you are the original. And he drove it all year round, but he was a great guy, and he passed about 8 years ago now down in North Carolina in Greenville. But after that, then I've been kind of going shooting blind here when I'm looking for details and just learn a little bit more about the industry. And I saw your name constantly kind of coming up. You know how you see movies sometimes and you see this thing going back and forth in the background and you go, what is that back there? And I think that's when I said, well, that driver right there probably knows a thing or two. And that's when I reached out. And also I couldn't do it until we were ready. I didn't want to bring up anything and say, hey, in a couple of years, we're going to be ready to go here, Toby. And
I understand. Opportunities don't like this don't come around just every day or for everybody. I've read the script, and Joey and I've talked a few things, and my job in all this, at least part of it is, and I'm going to go back through Joey just in case, is to find those little idiosyncrasies to make it authentic. That's a part of my job. I wear a lot of hats, and as you can see, I'm not a real big hat guy, but I'll put a few on for this. Just to find, and I really, reading what Joey wrote and seeing how he took your story, and again, Joey, you're right. The format for a script is way super different. than it is for like a story, because the story is much more detailed, and the script basically is, it's a quick description and then you move on. Now you go into some detail in some areas, that those are the segments. And I noticed that, and I'm like, wow, it's very technical. It's very technical, and it takes skill to do it. Not just everybody can do it. So you got the right guy for that, because I've read the script. It's wonderful. Now, so we come along, and there's the three of us, and you guys are the head of the table here. So my thing is, what is the goal? See, this episode is going to be seen by tons of people, and we're going to get this out there, and that's the point to it for all of us, and just getting the name and everything out there, informing people of the project. What's the goal with the project overall for you gentlemen?
Well, the goal in my mind has always been to get it out to not only the 18-wheelers, but to get it out to the four-wheelers, as they're referred to. And I want to let people know that the industry has something for everybody. Employment, whether it's administration, whether it's in the garage, whether it's driving, whether it's a vendor to the industry, whether you're a male, you're a female, getting out of the service. It's a great place for someone to start a career or maybe switch careers. I just want to put a spotlight, because we've had so much negative over the years, a lot of politics. And that's one thing you'll see in the script. I don't go into, weed, white, and wine, and whites and wine. I just don't go there. That's not my cross to bear. My cross is to get out there and get a positive image of a great industry.
All right. So I got to ask you, Joey, to you, who is Sam the Man Morris? Who do you see? Because I have a vision. I'll tell you what my vision is. And Greg and I have talked about this, okay? See, I've been doing this almost 23 years, and Jim Crackerbox retired after almost 30. And we have both seen that old school driver with the cowboy hat, and they're thin. They're not skinny, but they're not bulky. Maybe 6 foot, 6'2", right along in there. They got the cowboy hat, the vest, long sleeve button down, maybe the flip over shirt, pair of Wranglers, the belt buckle that's got their name on it in case they forget who they are. They got the cowboy boots. That's the image, carrying a thermos. He's going in to get coffee in the truck stop. That's the image, that's the old school driver. So Joey, do you have a vision for who you see Sam as, or who maybe even, I don't want to step a toe out of line here, but is there somebody in line that we can mention or not that may be in the running to play the lead role?
Well, absolutely. I'll start with just a general feel for what I had in mind for Sam is a generational leader, somebody who
I like it.
I saw a lot when I was putting on Fiddle Fest years ago. You'd go out in the hallway of the hotels, and here's Grandpa and his son and his grandson all jamming to anything and everything just in the hallway. And you saw a great knowledge base of Americana being passed down the line. So I could see that in Sam. He doesn't have children, but he's worked in the industry so long and seen it grown and shaped. And I think we all saw when COVID arrived just how vital a role truckers play in connecting the fabric of this country and every country around the world. So I wanted to start with that. And over the years, we've had various icons in mind. I think we all started with Sam Elliott at one point, just because of his gentle demeanor and fitting the description you just gave. But here recently, because of the COVID activity in Canada and then the truck driving just in the nation, we came to find Sean Johnston, who's a very prominent Canadian actor. He plays on the longest running Canadian television show called Heartland, now in its 17th season, which is an incredible run for any television show. Sean is very well known. He's got the big mustache like Sam Elliott, genial. He fits the physical description, I think, of what we all had in mind. And I don't know, the feel for this is a Andy Griffith type of thing where you just are comfortable and you know these are good people. If you're going to take your cues as to what the industry is and what it's supposed to be, it needs to be from someone like that, that you would welcome into your home and sit around the fireplace and listen to and learn. This is about a man's journey across America. He's hanging it up, his career of so many decades. He's reflecting on his life that he's had. He's remembering the good times and the relationships that form the backbone of anyone in any job that they have. But we get a feel for the endearing role that trucking has played in Sam's life and these relationships as he looks back over them and relives his memories, traveling across this nation. And of course, it's going to be a great portrait of America as the truckers see it, which is literally America the Beautiful, sea to shining sea, Purple Mountains Majesties, the whole bit. So that's my thought on that, Toby. I think we've got a great person in Sean. He's read the script, he's expressed interest, he's got a huge fan base. The show Heartland fits in that whole Hallmark neighborhood that we're trying to resonate with. And just, we don't want any distractions with this message. That's one of the reasons you were brought on board, is because neither Greg nor I want critiques from the trucking industry or people like that over technicalities, like, oh, a truck would never look like that, or he'd never do this, or he'd never do that. We want to keep the story flowing. And one way to do that is to bring professionals like you on board that will ensure the story is accurate so it doesn't distract anyone that knows better than the average person.
I have a question real quick. Greg, you were talking about being a swamper with Mayflower and working for Roadway, and talking about I forget the gentleman's name, the guy that was giving you the advice, the bandit,
Bruce. Yeah.
Bruce. He having that in there, I got to just jump in and say that is a fantastic thing to do, because I can think of a number of scenes out of various movies with trucks where they're doing things that are just defying the ability of trucks to do. I've seen a particular movie where the trucks, they're escaping, running rapidly away from a scene in a fully loaded semi, and the thing pulls a wheelie in the middle of the frame bends up, and every driver I know looks at that and goes, oh, turns it off right as soon as you see that. So having that ability to have genuine guidance in, between the bandit and between Trucker Toby, I think that's really important. That's going to lend an awful lot of gravitas to the movie for the drivers. Joey, as you were saying, you don't want the movie to get picked apart, because we're going to go watch that movie and the drivers are going to be looking for the accuracy. So that's great that you guys are doing that. But excuse me, I just wanted to jump in and get that in. Toby, right?
Well, you're one of the you're a co-host too. I mean, you can do that.
I know.
I've read the script and I've read the story, and overall I get this one feeling about Sam and about the movie. It's a bridge. It's not only a bridge for the trucking industry into the regular world, because this is a lifestyle that we live. We live in our own little world. We have our own world, just like Hollywood has its own world, and whatever. We have our own world out here, and it's a bridge from our world to everybody else. But more importantly, it's a bridge, a generational, like you said, Joey, a generational bridge for the trucking industry, for drivers, so they can see. Because I know, from what I understand, we want to be as authentic as possible. So if I understand correctly, Sam started driving somewhere around right after the Vietnam War, and he drove 40 years. So say 76 to 2016 in that area there. So we're going to be as authentic as possible. But before Sam, me and Crackerbox were talking here a while back. The original sleeper burst didn't come around to like 1954, I think it was. And they would sleep on a shelf. So, things have changed, they've evolved, and I know that you guys want to show that progression, how things have changed and how guys like Sam are responsible for the luxuries and they are luxuries that we have out here nowadays. And that's what I see this whole thing as a bridge to the country, the people, the world, because it's going to have a high domestic value, because trucking is very popular in some European countries as well. But it's also a bridge to the industry, for the industry. And I being a part of that, because my whole thing is legacy. And that you can't do much better than that, guys. At least I don't think so.
Yeah, this could end up being
Go ahead, Jay.
a recruiting poster of sorts for the industry. I mean,
Yeah, why not?
What Top Gun did for the Air Force, this could do for the trucking industry. And we have to be mindful of that, because this is a mantle that we're trying to carry. It's not only a portrait, as you say, a communication from the trucking industry to the everyman out there that doesn't know of your world, but it's also an internal film that says, hey, take pride in this career. We're the backbone of America. We're cool people. Come join us. Or if your daddy's in, why don't you get in too?
Oh, I was just going to say, you know, that carrying that mantle forward, and the number of changes that I've seen. Now, I started trucking in 82.
So you met Sam somewhere. You met Sam somewhere.
I have been trained by Sam in all manner of things. Like Toby and I have talked about going into the old truck stops when there were real restaurants with real waitresses and real food, and going in there as a greenhorn, not knowing, you know, I'm lucky I made it this far across the country and didn't die, you know. And so you pull up a seat and you talk to this. I always made it a point to find some of the, you know, the old guys that have been out there forever and sit down and talk to them and tell them, hey, I'm going to go through the Rocky Mountains and I don't have a Jake brake. And once they gave me the number of a good funeral service, you know, then they'd tell me how to get through what I'm doing without dying.
You know what?
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
No.
I'll say, you know what though, Crackerbox? The guy that said that's the guy who went, come on over here, Han, have a seat.
Yep.
That's Sam.
Yeah.
That's Sam. The guy who went, come on over here, driver, cop a squat, grab a stool, grab a cup of coffee, let's jaw some.
Yeah.
Let me help you. What that's Sam.
Yes.
You know, when I was growing up, my dad was in the military, and I remember we were stationed in Albuquerque a couple different times, and I remember to this day, so that'd be the early '60s, that he was stationed there at Sandia Base, and I remember going to truck stops, you know, the Giant out in Gallup, and passing through there, and there it was, drivers only.
It's a pilot now. It's a pilot now.
Drivers only, and I would go, wow, what's so special about these guys? And then I'd come home at night and I'd listen to KOB or KOMA, and they had that trucker salute at midnight. And I had a little radio that I put up to my ear, and sure enough, at midnight they'd say, we want to honor a trucker going from Amarillo to Dallas, doing this. The family is this, and we're going to give them a trucker salute. Yeah, I think it was 2 longs and 2 shorts. And I go, who are these people that have their own places to sit? People are honoring them on the radio. And at that age, you know, you just go, oh my gosh. Yeah. So not only did I get a taste of it when I was older, but I just wanted to bring up that I always thought that they were something special about them. And hopefully in the movie here, we can bring that back so people will see what it's all about.
This gets in your blood, man. I mean, look at Jim. Jim retired. And I pulled him back in. You know, it gets in your blood. Like, Joey, you've been in the film industry 30 years. It gets in your blood, doesn't it? It's a part of who you are, isn't it?
Yep.
This is the same way. There's no difference. I'm still, one of the things that makes this show work for us is Jim and I have some overlap, but he's retired and I'm still out here getting the miles on. So we get both perspectives, and the same with you guys. And together, the 3 of us, I think that's a hell of a team, man. And Joey, I've read the script and I keep saying this, I can't go back to this enough. It's tremendous. The story is awesome. It needs to be told. But I do have one question. What kind of a soundtrack are we looking at here for music, fellas?
Well, I'll tell you what, I mean, I think as I was writing it and the first couple of drafts of it, I actually put in a song that hit my mind, that came across my mind at certain locations, whether it was in Nashville, St. Joe's, City of Lights, wherever it was, and I put them in there because I think that that's a huge part of the industry.
Okay.
And so I had, just your typical, a girl on a billboard, give me 40 acres, and I'll turn this truck around. Obviously, A Dozen Roses by Kathy Mattel. So I had those, and then you have your Glenn Campbell music, and you're just saying, hey, do we want to go back there and listen to it all? So there's going to be a combination of music that's recent music, and I think the soundtrack's really going to enhance the message as well.
This whole project is so special in so many ways. I mean, and one of the questions we're going to get is, all right, I got to ask it, and it's just part of the job here. Where are we? Where is the project at right now?
Joey, I think you got a better handle on that than me.
We are in the process of being a few days away from doing a launch on Indiegogo, an initial launch to get the word out to the huge fan base of the trucking industry, the huge fan base of Sean Johnston and his Heartland TV show. We want to start mining that for interest and let them know that this is coming. And we have certain benchmarks that we need to hit in pre-production now. The first and foremost is the formulation of the actual budget and shooting schedule. And when I say budget, I don't mean some 20-page accounting ledger that marks this and that down. It is a very professional, detailed document down to the last animal wrangler and snake trainer or whatever you need. And it's also schedules like the Day of Days that tells you, okay, we're going to shoot this movie and it's going to take us 25 days in a row. And on day one, we're shooting the following pages. And scripts are shot and grouped in pages, usually by the actors and their commitments. For instance, if we've got Sean Johnston for a certain window, then we're going to shoot his pages first and we're going to group them all together. If we've got someone coming in for a cameo, we may throw them in there for an afternoon, get them in, get them out. So that all has to be considered and arranged based on that and based on location. We're going to shoot a lot of this out of Louisiana to take advantage of the tax credits here in my home state for screenplays that are written in state. They give extra generous credits for that, and also for music that comes from this state. So we need to do that and get that all squared away. That's the first thing that investors of any caliber and producers and other technical giants that will be coming on board this project want to see. Sean Johnston has signed a letter of commitment of interest, but we need to follow up with the other actors and the other roles, and they need to see, okay, what kind of commitment is this? Am I in 60 pages of the script or am I in 6 pages? So that's the next stage, and we're going to go with the Indiegogo campaign to raise the money to get the proper budget done and to hire a casting director to start fleshing out the rest of the roles, and then start some publicity and some PR. There'll be a lot of press releases around this Indiegogo campaign as it lasts for about 30 days. And quite honestly, Greg and I just want to see the response within the trucking industry and among the professionals and among the fans of Sean Johnston, because that's going to resonate with the big companies that come in and not only invest in the movie, but take an interest in product placement. We're going to have CB radios, trucks, all kinds of gear and things like that that can greatly enhance the visibility of the providers, if you will, in the trucking industry. So we need to show them that, hey, there are people waiting on this. Let's get busy.
Hey, Crackerbox,
Yeah. Now, what's up, Toby?
did you get your card yet?
I did. I got it right here. I opened it up this morning.
I got mine. Is yours the cool metal one?
No, I got the second card. I got the plastic card. Did you get the metal card?
Oh yeah, I got the
Oh,
metal
that's
one. You beat a mugger up with this thing, man.
tell folks about this card. What is OTR Clutch?
Well, OTR Clutch is a banking solution by OTR Solutions. It's designed for truckers and the trucking industry.
Mm-hmm.
It's for truckers individually and for small fleets and businesses.
Mm-hmm.
And it's backed by Thread Bank. So it's FDIC insured. They've got the free overdraft.
Mm-hmm.
They have, they also have the automatic savings account. I mentioned that they're FDIC insured. Download the app, or you can go to the website, otrclutch.com.
I agree. I was really impressed by a lot of the features, but the thing that really impressed me the most, having been an owner operator way back in the day, their factoring services.
And the other thing about that's cool is it's free for owner operators.
Yeah, I'm sitting here while we're talking. I'm looking at the OTR Clutch page, and they have end-to-end encryption on their app. You get unlimited cash back, no fees, no minimum balance. There's no credit check either. Yeah. I'm really happy that our company, the 6 Million Mile Productions, has decided to go with OTR Solutions and the OTR Clutch account. I think it's going to work well for us for everything that we're doing.
Yep, I like it.
Yeah,
I like it. I think they're going to do right by drivers. I think.
And we'll get back here to the show in just a moment and just let everybody know OTR Solutions has brought us OTR Clutch. Let's show everybody the hand. There we are, OTR Clutch, made for drivers.
So I do have a question. All right, so and I could be off point here. I'm not sure. So I know that. And by the way, I want to say this publicly to you, Joey. I know I have a small role in the script, and I'm so appreciative of that. But you did something for me that meant more than anything you can ever imagine. I had a family tragedy, and I contacted you, and I asked if you could fit it in somewhere, and you said it wrote itself, and you put a small scene in there for me, and thank you. But my question is this: how can this episode of the 6 Man Mile Show help accomplish those things that you were listing off, Joey? Is there what can we do? I mean, Crackerbox, do you have any ideas? I mean, maybe, I don't know if this is doable, but maybe let the guys send this off for people to see, maybe, or I don't know.
Well,
I really want to help.
There's all kinds of things, and really I think the mission for these gentlemen joining us on this episode is really just our target audience. Our audience is all middle-aged guys that have been on the road, that are still on the road. Really, it's the people that are going to be coming to see this film. So, whatever we can do just by getting the notification, let people know that this project exists. There's no such thing as a bad publicity, they say. So just getting the story out in front of people, Toby, getting the message of the movie out in front of people, that's really what we can, what we can do to help this come into fruition, to get the film done, get the film shot, and get it out into theaters for people to see, is to let people know that it's there. Now, Joey, the Indiegogo, I'm not familiar with Indiegogo. Is that kind of crowdfunding?
It's a crowdfunding site like Kickstarter. It's a place where, you can target people. For instance, your audience group can go to Indiegogo in the next week or so and type in "Dispatch Me Home" and find the project and be able to contribute to it, and receive all kinds of promotional merchandise and things like that. There's a way, if people don't have the funds themselves to contribute to the campaign, that if you take the links from Indiegogo and put it on your Facebook page and broadcast it out that way, then you will get credit for the foot traffic that comes through. And when you reach certain milestones, you will earn T-shirts, hats, and things that just like everyone else. So it doesn't have to cost you any money to participate in this. Two different things that this particular show will be doing for us is, number one, the ability to drive people to the Indiegogo page and to reach out to potential sponsors that work in the trucking industry. But number two, by just getting a copy of this show, we can put a segment on the Indiegogo page. They encourage regular video updates. And we don't have a lot of video. I'm going to have to do an interview segment with Greg just to kick off the initial campaign. So this provides something additional that we use to freshen this campaign over the next 30 days. And so that's a huge thing for us, just having that video record.
Nice.
I was just going to say, Joey, you know, I'm glad that this episode can be of use in that area, because the more eyes on, the more our reach, our show is viewed. I can't English today. Our show viewership rather goes up every week. And so we're getting out to people, and people are going to see it. And I'm super excited to see the reaction, because I really want to get this into the hands of people, in front of people, so that they can go, I want to be a part of that. It means a lot to this industry, to the people in it.
You know what I did last night, Toby, or this past week? I went ahead and took my contacts, and I have on my Facebook page, about 1,100, I believe. And I took the number of people that they have as friends, and my 1,100 folks turned into 27,000 contacts, just like that. And those are the people that's specific to trucking that I bring onto my site. And we talk, and I keep them updated. I wish everybody a happy birthday every year. I try to stay in contact with them all. So I know that we have folks out there that can take their Facebook pages or however they use to contact and stay in touch with their people. If they can get the word out, I think we can get the monies that we need to get this pre-production items taken care of and move forward. We have the power, gentlemen, to reach out and get support to make this happen.
I believe so.
So a quick question about the overall arc of the story. You know, you're starting them out, Sam's starting out in the mid-70s and going to about 2017 or so. So you're hitting the real popular heyday of trucking, back when everybody was putting CBs in their car, you know, and the Convoy was on the radio, inescapably on the radio on FM. And you've got him retiring right about the time that the electronic logbooks kick in. Does any of that play into the story at all about the switch in culture? Does that drive his?
Yeah, let me answer that, Crackerbox, because what I did is, when I started, that was kind of a parallel story there, like you're mentioning, the music and the trucking industry itself, and they're combined into one. But I have it in there. He's going from cassette tapes, 8 tracks to cassettes. And he's always reaching into his box and pulling out one. And he mentions that he goes into these truck stops and go over to the discount counter, and he pulls out his favorites now that are cheaper. But along that line, and you were talking about the trucks, and Toby's talking about the trucks. Right now, we're in a little conundrum here, and I just put out a word on my Facebook. I was saying, hey, what would you out there like to see Sam the Man driving? And that there's 2 answers to it. It's either, one, have a variety of trucks that he drives over 40 years, which we could work with the Trucker Historical Society, who I used to talk with Zoe a lot back when they were in Birmingham, Alabama. But we could either go variety of trucks, or I think I lean towards having one OEM. And the answers and the responses we're getting right now are, it's either a Pete or it's a Kenworth or a Freightliner. That's kind of it's more Freightliner, I think, leaning. So we've been reaching out to these OEMs, and we just haven't cracked that door yet. So if there's anyone out there that has some push or knows a contact that we can get in there and get up close and personal, I'd sure like to get that rolling. So that'd be really helpful for us.
I can tell you there's only one truck that he can drive, Greg. And I'm sure Crackerbox will back me up on this. There's only one truck he can drive.
Isn't it XL?
It's a 379, Pete.
Oh, no,
Long
I
nose,
I might have to
wheelbase.
disagree a little bit.
That's okay. You're allowed to do that.
There's a guy, if you take a look at the old Smokey and the Bandit movie, there's a guy driving a 62 Peterbilt needle nose Pete with the butterfly hood. It's an amazing truck. It's an actual working truck. And from what I understand, the guy's still out there on the road driving this old 62 Pete. Is still working with the same truck, and it's been in a number of movies. A little bit of research, I could figure out what his name is, but that is a mean looking truck. Just the way the hood is tilted and it's narrow in the front. He's got the big raised sleeper on that old Pete. I love those things. But in my personal history out being on the road, it was always the Freightliners, those old XLs that caught my eye. I adore them. Those were trucks, and they were rough running. I tell you what, man, they called them freight shakers for a reason. But they said iconic truck to me more than the Peterbilts. The Peterbilts were everywhere, but the guys that had the owner operators that had the really nice Freightliners really kept them up. They were a unique little clique. But
the thing is if you talk to the old timers, they're going to say 379 Pete because that's the truck that, and I agree with you. I drove an FLD for a while and I liked it. Lots of room, but they do pound you to death. There's no doubt about it. But, a lot of the older guys, you talk to them and they're, it's got to be a 379 long nose Pete. That's the only reason I say it.
Well, I tell you, whatever we decide on and have in the movie, even if we had an OEM come aboard and said, I want to show Pete's for 40 years as a different conversion every 10 years, and we can mix that. But in the background, I would still like to work with the Trucker Historical Society and see if we can get some of these older trucks parked in the background when he pulls into truck stops, just to really spread the love there for all of the OEMs and some of the Rios and stuff like that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm sure if we reach out to the American Truck Historical Society, I'm pretty sure they know some people that might be interested in having their trucks in a movie.
Yeah.
This is a big tuning fork. I mean, we're going to shake up the industry from a lot of different angles. I want to mention, you talked about the soundtrack earlier, and Greg has identified several songs that were popular during that era that, of course, he put in the story that found its way on into the script. And then we have current writers helping us out with credit music and custom songs like Dispatch Me Home that, we can craft in there as well. And then part of my background is my family owned the historic Louisiana Hayride radio and television show where Hank Williams and Johnny Cash and Elvis Presley and George Jones and so many greats got their start. Mm-hmm. And I have that 2,200 song archive at my disposal. So it's very unique to be able to tap into Elvis Presley music and put it into a movie with this kind of budget. I mean, that's out of reach, even if they give you permission.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Sophia Coppola just finished a movie that's out tomorrow, I believe, about Priscilla Presley's viewpoint. And Elvis Presley Enterprises would not give her permission to use any Elvis music. We don't need that permission. We'll have Johnny Cash in there. I've got Johnny Cash doing I Walk the Line for the first time live in the world.
I love that song.
Elvis Presley's introduction to radio listeners in 1954 when nobody knew who he was. On and on and on. George Jones, Jim Reeves, the big names of country music. And we're working that in. And then the reach of the Louisiana Hayride, when my father ran the continuation of the show, he discovered a 15-year-old Linda Davis. So we have access to Linda today and, talent to do custom songs and things to enhance from that viewpoint. You have the trucks that we're going to try to resonate, as you say, with the favorites that appeal to the collectors and the people that grew up in this industry. So any way that we can enhance this project, we're going to do it. I had an odd thing happen the other day that I think I'll share here. It's a bit premature, but just to show some of the things that happened. I woke up the other morning, had a song in my head, and I don't know why it was there. It was a 1960s song, Easy Come, Easy Go by Bobby Sherman. And I don't know if you guys remember that teenage heartthrob from the 60s. Great actor, great singer. I couldn't get the song out of my head. For some reason, I started thinking about this script and about Pete the cook. And I thought, well, you know, Bobby Sherman's like 80 years old now, but he's got kind, gentle eyes and just a sweet disposition. And like Andy Griffith, he just recalls an innocence and a Americana capturing a 60s and 70s era. So I thought, what the heck, man? I found a way a couple days ago to reach out to him. He read the script. He loves the part. Hadn't acted in 20 years.
That's great.
I think we'll get Bobby Sherman, you know, peace, love, and Bobby Sherman, baby. So, you know, we'll try anything. And you never know where the tuning fork is going to ding on this project, but it's dinging everywhere.
Yeah, it really is such an easy to identify with storyline, having been out on the road in, you know, coming in, 6 years-ish after, you know, Sam would have been starting driving. Having been out there at that time is like, as soon as I heard about this, it's like, oh my God, you know, I recognize this story. I know exactly what that was like. I remember it. It's nice to have all of those old stories and situations and places and capture that era and have it presented in such a positive light, because there was so much bad press about drivers, you know. And when I started driving, you know, my friends were, oh, you're going to be a truck driver? No, I'm going to be a truck driver. You know, this is a matter of personal pride for so many people. You know, Toby's mentioned, you know, it's a lifestyle. It's not a job. It was, especially back then, it was something that you did not get to put down. You know, you're a truck driver, and everything you do revolved around your job. Even your time off was mandated by the regulations. That, you know, if there was very little that you could do that didn't affect your job. So it's just so good to see this story come out as a thank you to the guys, as I see it as a, look, man, you guys really did a hard job, and we appreciate you so much that we're going to tell this story. It's super heartwarming to me to see this happen. Thank you, guys. This is awesome. Good job.
Absolutely. I mean, it's been at least 50 years or so since Claude Aiken and the Texas Wheelers were on television, you know. So I mean, we got to do something nice. You know, they're not all renegades and lawbreakers and, you know, worse. So
Yeah.
I think that's quite the opposite.
Yeah, it's been fun out here. My doing this for the last 22 plus years has been fun for me. So you guys are doing it justice.
Well, if I could just make a final comment here.
Yeah, please.
I look at this project that we're all involved in here, and I look at it as something that it's going to float all, as they say, float all boats. I'd say float all trucks, whether it be getting more young men and women into the business, retaining a lot of the truckers that are currently in there and maybe just a little on the fence about what they're doing. I think it's going to increase CDL driving course schools participation, which in turn I think is going to sell some more trucks. Everyone knows that, you know, like we've always said, and everybody knows, you know, as the truck goes, so does the nation. And I think Dispatch Me Home is going to be a place where, well, I say in the story, you know, it takes you back to a better place in time in America, where a firm handshake sealed the deal and friendships meant everything. That's what Dispatch Me Home is all about.
Absolutely.
I like it. I like it.
Joey, do you have anything else that you want to add before you wrap this thing up?
That was the PS I'd put on this thing. I mean, we're trying to show that. I think it's going to end up being every bit a recruiting poster for the industry. They know it, they feel it coming. The potential sponsors see it and feel it. And it's just a great story. You know, that Hollywood has backed themselves into a corner now to where they feel obligated to their shareholders and can't even consider a project unless it's going to do 500, million or billion or whatever it is they're trying to do. And they're overlooking these heart stories, if you will. And I like that we've started with Sean Johnston and Heartland, because that is a very tender series. The sheer longevity of 17 seasons is humongous. I mean, Canada's longest running television show, for goodness sakes. And we got the Star to take one look at Sam Morris and say, oh, yeah, this
but
is
he
it.
fits. He fits so well.
And it's a tour de force. You get a script that is that centered on one character, it's a make it or break it. If you do that right, which we know he can do it, then you get the awards, because you have to go all in order to portray this. And that's the kind of investment we want and need in the Sam Morris character. Sean Johnston's perfect. The Canadians and their role in the recent trucking history throughout America is wonderful. So to have that fan base, but I mean, it's that show's in 126 countries, around the world out of 192. That's pretty strong. And so
yeah, it's a good
to have that
percentage.
going for us, to have the Hayride archives, to have wonderful songwriters, technical people such as yourself, Tex Crowley doing second unit video work, making the trucks just look beautiful. Of course. I mean, we've got it covered. Photography is beautiful, and we need that. Trucks need to be the star as much as the people driving them.
Yep.
Toby, do you have anything that you want to add before we wrap up here?
No, just wanted to thank you guys for being on the show. It's been a lot of fun. We really enjoyed doing this, and I'm really hoping that with the combination of personalities here, that we can use this to help get things moving and really get some traction and just hammer down.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're
Right,
welcome.
thank you for
Joey,
having us
Greg.
on.
Yeah, thank you, gentlemen, very much for being here on this, the 5th episode of the 6 Million Mile Show. I am your co-host, Crackerbox Jimmy.
And I'm your other host, Trucker Toby. And as always, I am 1010 on the side.
Bone shaker, rattle my head. You got a Jake that's loud enough to wake the dead. I said, bone shaker, tell me the truth. Swear you're running on whiskey under 20 proof.